What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the RBI podcast. My name is Richie. I am your host, and we are on episode number 16. Shohei Ohtani is an alien because he is an alien. Today we're going to talk about some World Baseball Classic. We're going to wrap that up, as well as the unfortunate news about Rhys Hoskins, some Yankees news, some other things we're going to hit on as well. And to end it off, we are going to do our X Factors. I'm not sure if I'm going to have another X Factor. If you want me to include the AL West, I will. But right now I'm on the AL Central, but we're pressed on time. I apologize. I had a lot going on. But if you like it, I'll put it in the next episode. But the next episode is going to be a prediction video. So I'm not really sure if you guys want that mixed in. But put it in the comments below before I record the next episode. Or just whatever you got to do to let me know. Like, subscribe, follow, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Not Facebook. I appreciate you guys listening or watching, and tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your acquaintances. And now we're going to get into the episode. We're going to start with some World Baseball Classic talk. Just kind of wrapping it up and some thoughts I had on it. Japan won it. I think 3-2 was the score. This was a good tournament. It was good for baseball. I know that a lot of people didn't love it because of the Edwin Diaz thing, but let's be honest, the majority loved this tournament. It did very well for the game. And the numbers showed it. The final game averaged 4.5 million viewers, and that's a lot compared to any baseball game. Like, even the World Series games don't even do those numbers. When you get that global audience, you don't realize how big the world is outside of America until you see these types of international tournaments, because there are so many countries fighting for the same goal. And I think it was Teoscar Hernandez who said, the World Series is between two cities. Like, the World Baseball Classic is between two countries. Like, there's a massive difference and a massive following. I also like the fact that you don't really see, like, a negative fan towards the Team USA or negative fan towards Team Canada. Like, everyone's pulling for you. And I think there's something cool about that. I understand some fans will boo and get upset. And rightfully so. If your team loses, you're allowed to be upset. But I just thought it was really cool how, like, almost every team gave, like, I'm not saying every team was there to win. Like, let's be honest, you don't see that in the MLB. A lot of teams tanking, selling, the owner don't want to spend money, and we see that a lot, way too much. And we also see guys that just play for money. Not like, I don't know, whatever your motivation is, but this was all for pride, pure pride. And just to get into it a little bit, United States lost this game. We got the box office matchup with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. Trout struck out on a nasty slider from Shohei Ohtani, who is an alien. I spoke about this briefly like a couple weeks ago, but Mike Trout's been the best player in our game now for a decade, up until like 2 years ago when Ohtani overtook him. And I don't think people appreciate Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani enough, to be honest, because Mike Trout did things that we might not see besides Ohtani for another 30 to 40 years. He led the league in OPS Plus from 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. So that's 5 straight years he led the league in OPS Plus, which is a phenomenal stat to judge an offensive player. He also had, like, I think, career highs in, like, sprint speed, outs above average, and all these defensive metrics when he was on a decline defensively. He's 30 years old. There's a good shot he hits 600 home runs, and he's still in his prime. But like I said, it literally took an alien for Mike Trout to not be the greatest player in the league. And Shohei Ohtani is doing things unthinkable. He's going to get, I think, past $500 million, hopefully by the Mets, but past $500 million. And let's just take a moment to appreciate these two players, because they don't come around often. We see the Julio Rodriguez's, we see the Freddie Freemans, the Mookie Betts. A couple years ago, Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger. To be this consistently dominant is hard to do. And like I said, that's why Mike Trout gets compared to Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio and Willie Mays. That's why he gets compared to those guys, because he's at that level. He's earned that right. And he's only in, I think, year 11 now. Like, he's still got, hopefully, God willingly, 5-6 years left. Who knows where he's going to end up? He's going to probably be top 10 in WAR, because he always seems to have a 7-win season, even when he plays 100 games. Like, the guy had 40 home runs in 100 games. And to move to Ohtani, the guy's a global icon. He surpassed 1 million followers on Instagram. So did Lars Nootbaar. and I don't really know if that means much, but baseball is not really a social media sport. What do I mean by that? The NBA and the NFL seems to grasp the younger generation more than baseball. Baseball is America's pastime. It's more of an older generation's liking and interest. And they don't have the Instagrams, Twitters, TikToks, Snapchats. They don't have those as much as someone that's 13 years old. But Lars Nootbaar and Shohei Ohtani surpassed that following because they played for Japan. And I guess in Japan, they all love baseball more than any other sport there. This is a good start. I personally don't really care about your Instagram followers, but I get the point of like marketing the game, growing the game, and all the bells and whistles that go with it. This is a good start. Like I said, I don't care too much about what Shohei Ohtani puts on Instagram or like Lamar Jackson tweeted he requested a trade. I genuinely don't care. You'll get the news anyway, but if you wanted to personally say it, then go ahead. That's up to you. But me personally, social media does not move me as much when it comes to, like, for me, obviously, like, to grow my podcast, I need social media. But Shohei Ohtani does not need social media to grow himself. Like, he can go on these interviews, he can do press conferences, he can do other things to do it, brand deals, but like I said, it's not nothing, but it's not the biggest deal. But still cool though, 1 million followers for Lars Nootbaar and Shohei Ohtani, so congratulations to them too. Back to Ohtani, like fully just baseball wise. Like I said with Trout, do not take him for granted. I don't care if he doesn't hit 300. If he hits 260, which he does, he hits 40 home runs, which he does. He also has a sub-2 or sub-2.5 ERA. That is insane. Like, think about it. I saw someone say on a podcast I listened to, imagine Patrick Mahomes as the best linebacker in football as well. Imagine Josh Allen with Jalen Ramsey's skill at corner. Like, that's... Like, imagine Shaquille O'Neal. This is a good way. Imagine Shaquille O'Neal with Steph Curry's three-point shot. He'd be the best player of all time. But people are so hesitant to put this with Ohtani, and I don't know why. And I think it's because we've never seen it before. We talk about Babe Ruth. That was a long time ago. Babe Ruth also never hit and pitched at the same time. He did it separately. 1 year, like, he'll pitch. I don't know, like, what order, or I'd have to look at my stats. Excuse me. But Ruth didn't pitch and hit at the same time. Ohtani's doing this at the same time. And for people to think that he's only had 2 good years, it's a little naive because he did win Rookie of the Year. Yes, he did get hurt after that in 2020. His velo was down. I remember I wrote an article about it. Like, should the Angels be worried about him? And turns out they should be worried that he's going to leave now. It's incredible what he's doing. And I think the reason why people are so hesitant to give him his flowers is because, like I said, we've never seen it before. And I think we undervalue how hard that is to do what he does. To go, think about it. It starts in the end of February, goes to, for their sake, hopefully November, pitching and hitting. So imagine doing the mental and physical and emotional grind of hitting and pitching. Some players can't handle one. He's handling both at an elite level. It's not like he's an average hitter or a pitcher. He's an elite hitter and an elite pitcher. You're not going to see this again for a long time. We're going to see some two-way guys come up and try it, but to get it done and to do it at this level, it's nearly impossible, which is why he is an alien. Some other things, I guess bad things about the World Baseball Classic, but when Edwin Diaz got injured, a lot of Twitter guys and girls talked about how it was a worthless tournament, a meaningless tournament. He shouldn't have gotten hurt. He shouldn't have been playing. He shouldn't have been jumping up and down, yada, yada, yada. And then people clapped back saying like how much they care and all that. And I personally love this tournament. That Edwin Diaz thing could have happened anywhere. Jose Altuve could have gotten drilled in the wrist in spring training. We saw Rhys Hoskins tear his ACL in spring training. Like, freak things happen, unfortunately. You wish that no one can get hurt, and you wish everyone was healthy the entire season, but that, unfortunately, that is not how it works. What I'm going to say with this now, though, is, one, you can't be mad at Mets fans for being upset that Diaz got injured. I feel like that kind of got swept under the rug. I was very upset that Diaz got injured. Not because of the World Baseball Classic, but because the best closer in baseball on my favorite team is now out for the season. You can't be mad for someone to feel that way because imagine your team had that situation. I'm not going to name any players. I'm not going to wish injury on anyone because I don't want anyone to get hurt. But imagine your favorite team had that same thing happen to them in spring training, in the World Baseball Classic, walking down the damn stairs. We've seen it all happen before. It stinks. You don't want it to happen, and we were upset about it as Mets fans, and the Astros were probably just as upset about Altuve. You can't control injuries, like obviously like soft tissue things you could stretch out and stuff like that, but something like jumping up and down or getting drilled in the wrist, it's a freak thing. With all this being said, after a while though, seeing one more tweet about look how amped up the crowd is. So a lot for a meaningless game. Oh, look at Francisco Lindor's like energy. So much for a meaningless game. Like, we get it. Like, the people that don't like the tournament, I don't agree with them, but you're allowed to feel however you want to feel. But to hamper your point home again and again and again gets annoying. Like, we get it. It is not a meaningless tournament. I agree with you. But the more you say it, the more you're going to anger the people that don't like it, and the more it's not really worth saying. If it meant that much, and it does mean that much, it should go without saying. And if you want to prove a point to someone that doesn't like the tournament, you're not doing anything because they're not going to like the tournament whether you say it or not. So just to keep saying it at the end of the tournament, we heard it like, oh, all these viewers, a lot for the games that mean nothing. Like, after a while, it just got repetitive and annoying and just tedious. And so just, you can make your point, move on. I have no problem with you saying that you hate the tournament or that you like the tournament, or if you want to bash back and forth. I'm taking the side that I like the tournament, so if you want to bash me on Twitter for liking the tournament, go ahead. Or TikTok, that's my, I guess, biggest following with my whopping 200 followers. But my point is, it got annoying after a while. Like, we get it. We get that you think this tournament means something to you, because a lot of us do. I do too. I didn't send one tweet about it being meaningless or meaningful. I just wanted to enjoy the game. It's not about an agenda, and I feel like it became that after a while. To wrap up the World Baseball Classic talk, after Mexico lost to Japan and after Mark DeRosa and Team USA lost to Japan, the Mexico manager and Mark DeRosa went up to the podium and spoke, and they both said something along the lines of, "We lost the game, but baseball won today." I'm a usually pretty positive, agreeing person. Heavily disagree with this one. The reason why we're trying to grow baseball, and the reason why baseball is growing, and the reason why this tournament did so well, is because the level of competition was here the entire time. There was never lulls or anything. The guy got a hit, everyone cheered. Guy scores, everyone's pumped up. There's not like some quiet celebration when you're in May, which is understandable. You can't get up like that for every game. But the level of intensity and competition was at a 10 out of 10 the entire tournament. That is what makes this game fun. Not accepting, oh, baseball won today, but we lost. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but Shohei Ohtani said something along the lines of, in the Japanese locker room, we can't surpass the United States unless if we bow down to them. And I don't know if he knew he was on camera, but you have to have that attitude. You have to have that, like, that quote-unquote killer mentality, and you have to, you can't, I don't know, these comments, that I think the Mexico manager made it and Team USA's manager made it, and I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that we got caught in this la-la land, how, like, the game was growing, which it was. It's not a lie that the game was growing because of this tournament, but everyone kind of got caught in that, like tunnel vision that was the main goal of this tournament. The players and the coaches should want to compete their asses off and win the tournament, because that is what is going to grow it. And I feel like these comments, it's kind of like receding that almost. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm not an English major. The whole, like, oh, baseball won today even though we lost. Like, it's like saying, oh, we lost, but because we grew the game, who cares? Like, that it came off that way a little bit, and people liked it. I personally didn't like it. I'd rather you get up there and say that you are pissed that you lost, because you are pissed that you lost. You know who didn't say baseball won today? Team Japan. You know why? Because they won the whole thing. You don't have to bring this up. This should have went without saying. You could have brought this up next week, 2 weeks from now, even like right now, because the tournament ended last week. But to say it the moments after, it just seems very too zoomed out for an in-the-moment thing. And I know the world loves like perspective, and I understand why. But in that moment, you should be emotional. You just lost a championship game. That's the way it works. You don't lose the Super Bowl and go, oh, well, the game got a lot of viewers. Like, you don't talk that way. And I feel like we kind of got caught in this tunnel vision where we cared more about, oh, how many views is this video getting, rather than, oh, Lars Nootbaar just hit a game-winning home run for Japan. Or, oh, Francisco Lindor just hit a walk-off single for Puerto Rico. Oh, Lance Lynn just threw 5 shutout innings for Team USA. That's what grows the game. The numbers will speak for itself. We don't have to bring up the numbers. But it just felt like it became like a promotion rather than a tournament and a competition for some of these like fans, coaches, players. And am I wrong by that? Probably. But personally, that's what these comments did. Okay, moving on now, we're going to talk about an unfortunate situation with the Philadelphia Phillies and Rhys Hoskins. Literally took a step back to play a hop on I played first base or infield and take a step back to get the hop. He literally stepped, knee gave out, and just blew out his knee. Towards ACL, he's out for the season. That is very, very unfortunate for him personally, for the team, and just you don't want to see injuries ever, and especially when a guy goes like that down, especially this early in the season. It just mentally it probably crushes you just as much as it does physically. Personally, for Rhys Hoskins, this was a walk year for him, so that is very unfortunate. But I do think he has enough of a track record to get a contract, like a multi-year deal. Will it be from the Phillies? I don't know. I saw a couple of TikTok Philly guys say, like, we were preparing to move Bohm to first anyway next year, so now we're going to expedite that move. I'm okay with moving Alec Bohm to first if I'm the Phillies. The problem is who fills in at third, because it's going to be Edmundo Sosa, who is a journeyman player and a utility infielder. He can't be playing every day on a championship level team. And unless they make a move, which I don't know where they would turn, because Manny Machado got extended and Rafael Devers got extended. So the 2 top third basemen are gone, in theory. So Bohm to first. I was thinking about it literally as I'm saying the sentence. Maybe the Mets entertain a Met-Philly trade with Eduardo Escobar. I know Beatty's not getting the call right away, but who knows? Like, say a couple months from now, the Phillies just need a stopgap guy. That'd be a decent option at the deadline. Even if the Mets are buyers or sellers at the deadline, Escobar might be available depending on Beatty. So that would be an option for the Phillies, I feel like, but I don't think you can run out there Edmundo Sosa every day. Derek Hall is also going to be in a platoon with those 3 guys, or 2 guys, with Bohm and Sosa. This is a big hit. They're already without Harper for a while. Trey Turner is becoming a necessity at this point rather than a luxury. So their lineup is like Schwarber, Turner, Realmuto, Castellanos. After that, it gets tricky. I mean, Brandon Marsh, Bryson Stott. Yeah, it's like Schwarber, Realmuto, Turner. Yeah, those 4 guys. I don't know. This lineup is kind of shaky. Their pitching is fine, which is good. But if I'm a Philly fan, I'd be a little concerned at the depth of this lineup, especially in a division with 3 teams that can literally win 100 games. The Phillies being one of them. But I don't know. You can't fall behind early, and Harper missing time. It's like now you don't have 2 of your starting position players out of 9, and that's a concern for me if I'm a Philly fan. Hopefully Rhys Hoskins is better. Hopefully he gets the contract he wants. But for now, it looks like Alec Boehm's going to first to split time with Derek Hall, and then Sosa's going to go to third, and they're kind of going to mix and match as they go, make things work. Robbie Thompson was great last year. If he can repeat it again, that would be an even better job in my opinion. But prayers up for Rhys Hoskins, and hopefully he gets better soon. So to move on, right before our X Factors, I want to talk about the Yankees. Anthony Volpe, congratulations to him, and also like Bryce Terang got called up, Jordan Walker got called up. I think the Brewers called up a couple guys actually, but specifically for the Yankees, I'm going to do a whole segment on them right now. Volpe gets the call. This was a need, in my opinion, for the Yankees. The video is great. If you haven't seen it, just go on Twitter, type in Anthony Volpe video. It'll come up. IKF was their shortstop last year, so it was a battle between Volpe and Peraza. Peraza didn't make the team, so Volpe, I think he's their starting shortstop every day. Aaron Boone says he's going to bat ninth, and good for you. Like, I can only imagine getting that call. I wasn't half the player Anthony Volpe was, and probably anyone listening either, unless I have some like Aaron Judge listening to this, which would be pretty sick. But congratulations to Anthony Volpe. I saw something with Ken Rosenthal saying these young players might push the Yankees to trade for Gleyber Torres because now all of a sudden the pitching is in need with Severino down, with Montas down, and then with Rodon down for now. So maybe you trade Gleyber. And I saw the guy that came up was Jesus Luzardo of the Marlins. The one thing I will say with that is the Yankees have just lost all of their leverage. The Yankees know they need pitching. Teams know they need pitching. You put those two together, you're not getting a deal done unless the Yankees get absolutely fleeced. So Torres was going to stay put, and also the Marlins won't make sense. They have 5 second basemen, it feels like. But back to Volpe, he's going to play short. The floor on him is so high. Like, obviously he's got a high ceiling, but most prospects do. The floor on him is so high because he's a good defender. He runs the bases well. He steals bases. And he seems like an overall 5-tool player. He's a prospect, so he's not going to be Mike Trout right away because that takes time. But even if he's not, he can be an impactful player without having the pressure of hitting the 30 home runs or hitting 280 with a 900 OPS or playing Gold Glove defense. If he just is a spark plug at the 9-hole and just helps out Judge, Stanton, Torres, Rizzo, I guess Josh Donaldson, then that's good enough. Like, he's a rookie. He shouldn't have that much asked of him, but being a Yankees tough, it's a big market, shortstop even, so we'll see with that. But like I said, congratulations to Anthony Volpe. To jump back to the pitching depth, this is kind of concerning for the Yankees because their rotation now is Cole, Cortez, who's even a little banged up. Well, I think he's good to go now. And then it's Domingo Germán and Clark Schmidt. I don't know who their 5 is. I genuinely don't know. I think a guy named Brito, that's his last name. Losing 3 starters before opening day is rough, especially in this division where the Blue Jays loaded up kinda. The Rays will always be there. The Orioles are coming. And don't sleep on the Red Sox. I don't think they make the playoffs, but I think that they are going to be sneaky. I think they're going to win 81 to 85 games and just be a thorn on everyone's side. The luxury the Yankees do not have is they can't beef up on their division because, like I said, every team in this division has a chance to make the playoffs. This isn't like the AL Central where the Guardians can beef up on the Tigers and Royals, or the AL West where the Mariners and Astros can beef up on the A's. Like, what team are you doing that with the AL East? Even if the Red Sox are bad, Yankees-Red Sox is a big-time rivalry, so you're getting the best effort every time. So it's going to be tough for the Yankees to start, and I don't know. They got to hold afloat. They got to be able to hit enough to mask their pitching, and they're going to need guys like Clark Schmidt and Domingo Germán to really step up. I don't think Rodon and Severino are out long, but like we might not see Rodon until May, and all of a sudden you're 3-4 games back at the end of April. You can't afford to fall behind because you're not really going to get those stretches where you play the old Orioles like 6 straight times because you get like a home-and-home series. You do play every team, so you'll play these teams, but you won't play them as much, and you won't get the extra games against the bad teams, like the Nationals in the NL East or the Reds in the NL Central. You won't get that. You'll play them, but you'll play them 3 times. You won't play them 8 times or 12 times. So Yankees, they got to hit their way into first place in the month of April at least, and they could do it, but it's going to be a dogfight to the end of this division, and they'll be right in it at the end of the year. Just some quick other news before we get into the X Factors. Tristan McKenzie is out, I believe, 2 months. That hurts a lot for the Cleveland Guardians. Muscle strain, I believe his shoulder, back of his shoulder. That stinks. I just saw it today, so I don't have much info, so I just wanted to put it out there. And congratulations to Nico Horner, got a 3-year, $35 million extension from the Chicago Cubs. Him and Dansby at the middle is probably one of the better defensive ones, and slept on offensively as well. So just wanted to put that out there before we get to our X Factors. But now the X Factors for the AL Central. Okay, to start off for AL Central, we got the Detroit Tigers. There's a real good chance this team finishes last in the division, but they're going to have an X factor, and I think it is Spencer Torkelson, first baseman, former number 1 overall pick. Torkelson had one of the worst seasons, I think rookie seasons in history last year, which is not good, obviously. And if they want to go anywhere with this quote-unquote core or this group of developmental players, Torkelson has to be a good player because he was the number 1 overall pick. He had a ton of potential. He's supposed to be replacing Miggy, and he didn't really show a lot last year. I know he hits the ball hard, but he doesn't make enough contact yet, and he's going to have to, obviously, or he's going to be a legitimate bust. The Tigers aren't going anywhere this year, which is why I put him as my X factor, because I feel like the development of him is honestly more important than winning games for them this year. They won, I think, 68 games last year, and they were a slept-on team coming into the year. I even was like, okay, maybe they got something going. They got Javi Baez. Austin Meadows they picked up. They got Eduardo Rodriguez, which seems to be like an overrated pickup. But Torkelson, if he's what he was supposed to be, that's a star. But it doesn't look that way for now. We'll see. I don't really have much on the Tigers, so we'll see with Spencer Torkelson. Next up is the Chicago White Sox. I put Lucas Giolito. He's coming off a bad year, but he has a track record of being a good pitcher. I believe his best year was 2020. Don't quote me on that or check me on that, but the good thing about Giolito is that he doesn't have to be the best pitcher in this rotation because Dylan Cease is a certified ace, and Lance Lynn has experience being an ace, and so does Giolito, to be honest. Giolito, this team, they're very mid. Like, that's the way I put it. They lost to Abreu. They didn't really replace his power or his production. They signed Benintendi. They signed Mike Clevenger, who knows if they even like him anymore after the allegations that came out. But right now, Giolito is their 3 starter, so there's not a ton of pressure on him. But if the White Sox want to win this division or just make the playoffs in general, he is going to have to be good because they're going to kind of have to be carried by their pitching. Their top 3 guys in Lynn, Giolito, and Cease can be like a 3-headed monster that can really get it done for you. You throw it off to the back of the bullpen, and you go from there. But I just think that it's such a big year for him because you can't have 2 back-to-back bad years and then expect a team to trust you in the next year. We're seeing that right now with like Patrick Corbin. He wasn't that bad, but like we're seeing those types of things happen around the league, and you can't have that, and the White Sox can't have that if they want any shot of winning this division. So Lucas Giolito is the X factor for the White Sox. Moving on, I got the Kansas City Royals. I got catcher/right fielder, World Baseball Classic participant, MJ Melendez. Similar to the Tigers, the Royals aren't going anywhere this year. I know they have Bobby Witt, and everyone loves Vinny Pasquantino and Brady Singer, but besides that, not much talent around, not much depth around this team. The Guardians, Twins, White Sox are just clear-cut better than them. But this kid is like the Salvi, quote-unquote, replacement, and he also plays outfield. He didn't hit great last year, but he has potential. He just has to live up to it. He's kind of in that Torkelson boat, just not the pressure because he wasn't the number 1 overall pick, that he needs to grow to be a part of that next young core for the Royals to have success with. And this is a big year. Like, you can't really, very rarely does a guy have 2 bad years in a row and he figures it out. It's been done before, but it's never been done to really the level. Like, how often do we see a guy not good for 2 to 3 years and all of a sudden become an all-star and like a consistent all-star? We've seen like flash in the pan guys and guys that have like 1 star year and that's it. But for MJ Melendez, you don't want that. You want to be a consistent all-star every year. And this year he can take that step forward. And maybe the Royals get to 75 wins because he takes a step. Bobby Witt takes a step. Pasquantino, Brady Singer, the guys that keep naming over and over and over again. These guys can really make an impact, and I think it starts and ends with MJ Melendez. Moving on, the Cleveland Guardians. This is a team with expectations, so I picked Josh Bell, their new acquisition. The Cleveland Guardians lacked a ton of power last year, so Josh Bell is going to bring that. Switch hitter, first baseman. It allows Josh Naylor to go to DH because he's much better as a DH. Also, Naylor isn't good against lefties, so that can help as well. You could put, say you want to put Bell at DH as a righty and then put like someone else at first base, like a Will Brennan or who else. I don't even know if he's on the team anymore, Will Brennan, but someone else in that spot that can play first base to get Naylor out against lefties. For Bell, though, he needs to be the power bat because outside of Jose Ramirez and Oscar Gonzalez, like Andres Jimenez, Ahmed Rosario, Steven Kwan, they're not hitting 35 bombs. Like Josh Bell, I don't even know if he can hit 35 bombs, but he can hit 25 to 30. He's done it before. And it's a thump bat in the middle of a lineup that needed it. I kind of like the way they even out their lineup as well because they have the contact. They also now have Mike Zunino who can hit a lot of home runs. So they have good balance. They have good pitching. Even minus McKenzie, they have good pitching. So the Guardians will be a good squad this year. I think they overachieved a tad last year, but I think they can definitely reach that number again. I think they won 92 games or 90 games. So Josh Bell is the X factor for the Cleveland Guardians. And last up is the Minnesota Twins. It is not Carlos Correa. It is not Jorge Polanco. It is Joey Gallo. With the shift technically gone, even though they still shift him, they put the left fielder in short right field for him. But Joey Gallo, this is a resurrection year for him. This is kind of do or die at this point. The Twins are similar to the White Sox. They're kind of average in the middle somewhere, but I think they can make a run at it. I think they can win this division. Be tuned on my podcast for that answer. But Joey Gallo, he's got to be somewhere close to what he was for the Rangers, or else he might be cut by July. Like, let's be honest, he's not on a big time deal, and he's been bad enough the last couple of years where losing him and getting nothing back, it might not be like that bad. I know mentally he was kind of struggling. He opened up about that with the Yankees and a little bit with the Dodgers. He kind of, even though he got a breath of fresh air, he didn't play much better. But you don't want a guy to be struggling mentally like that. So hopefully in a new mental headspace, a new start, a clean slate, he can get back to himself. He's also a good athlete. He can play a good outfield. That won't be a problem. So for him, he could be, if he can get back to like his 35, 40 homer self, then that's a huge bat for the Twins, and I think could be the obvious X factor for them this year. Okay, that is all I got today. I appreciate you guys listening so much. Check out Thursday for my prediction video. It is going to be a podcast-oriented video, but I'm going to do my MLB predictions on there for the season. The season starts on Thursday, so it'll be out 7 a.m. And you will have, if you want to see my predictions before the first pitch, 6 hours to watch it. But if not, like always, like, comment, subscribe. Find some recent videos, and my channels are on these sides. And I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Peace out.